The Wannabes, Season 2, Episode 5. Actually, Episode 5. My name is JD.
What's up? It's your boy Wasabi.
And we're
How you
back.
doing, JD?
We're back after a little bit. I'm doing okay. Just moved in this week, so everything's kind of resettled in a sense. But I'm doing all right. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. A lot of craziness and progression and all that. But yeah, overall good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm pretty tired. Work days have been kind of crazy, I think. Yeah, I've just been working like 10 to like probably 10-hour days on average, some 12-hour days once in a while. So work's been good first month. I really like the job, honestly. Like it's pushing me a lot and the company is really good and the people are really nice and I like my manager as well. I think yeah, I'm just still getting used to it, trying to figure out a new routine. But honestly, like the job's giving me melee vibes. You know, like I feel good at the end of the day, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, like the end of a long session feels.
Not as nice as not as nice as playing with your homie.
Okay.
With a long session, but it's close. It's close.
All right. Well, it's like as close as you can get for an intensive job. It's better than feeling miserable at the end of a day.
Yeah. I mean, it's been really demanding and challenging, and I've been stepping up to the plate, which is good. But definitely, it's like kind of just wants me. I just like want to. It just makes me want to like perform better as well. So like again, like just very similar to like the melee vibes adjacent, I'd say. So I'm like onto something. So we'll see how that continues to grow. But you know, kind of really excited to kind of start my career. Like it doesn't feel like just a job at the moment, which is nice.
Nice. Yeah, man. I mean, we talked a little bit, I think, last episode. I mean, we've talked about this all the time, but kind of translating that aspect of the game, like the pushing yourself and improving into a career. And so, personally, I'm still looking for that. So it's really nice to see, like, it's worth pursuing. It's worth looking for that in a job. Because yeah, that's super rewarding, and it kind of leaves you with a. I mean, I'm speaking for you now, but what I want is kind of what you're describing. Like at the end of the day, I've always thought of it as like, if you have a beer at the end of the day, it makes the beer taste better. It makes your TV shows more relaxing. It adds flavor to all the other things that you enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's right now like giving me some energy back. If I wasn't, I think I've been loading up on just like trying to get onboarded as quickly as possible because it's a pretty small company. So right now I think like it's an energy net neutral where it's not actually draining, but I'm just putting so much energy in that I'm not like that it's not giving me energy back. But net neutral is really good for like the start and doing it and getting used to Zoom meetings and all that sort of stuff, you know. So I think that's good. So I think in the future it will start, you know, giving me more energy, which is really, really exciting once I kind of get settled and I know how the system works and where everything is and all of that stuff.
Yeah, man. Do you want? I mean, I'll open the door for you to kind of talk more specifics if you want, but we could also just kind of sit on how it feels like in terms of anxiety or kind of expectations. Is there anything kind of? You said your boss is cool. Is there pressure coming down on you, or is it kind of still like you're doing good, so they're not coming hard?
I think that's the interesting thing. I think the pressure has always kind of was there since day one, but it was like in a way that was kind of encouraging. It was like kind of like the pressure you get from like, I guess your homies like cheering you on against like a PR player, you know, that kind of pressure where it's like you know you want to perform, but like they got your back as well. I think that like, oh, what was your other question about? Just like, I think I do like my manager. I think she's really, really cool and Yeah, I mean, just super cool, super open. And she's like really demanding, but I think it's like because she knows like what I can do. So I think like I'm actually in a position where I have the freedom and trust to kind of do the things that I want to do. But then because of that, I'm expected to do those well. So it's kind of like I got the freedom to play, but I'm playing with kind of live ammo sometimes a little bit. And so I think that's what's been really fun and exciting, but at the same time, a little bit stressful because it's just like they put so much trust in you to do it. And I think that's the thing. Like, it's not like I'm getting micromanaged or anything like that. You know, I kind of have the whole playground to play in.
Right. Wow. All right. So that's been. I know we've been talking all the time this past couple weeks, and you've been working long shifts to say the least. How is that? Is that going to keep going? How do you feel your time management's going to go these next
That,
month?
yeah, so that is actually struggling a little bit. Time management has been the toughie, right? Because I'm also prepping for the California move coming up in January.
Hmm.
So I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm just trying not to honestly beat myself up for it. Like, this is a time of transition, so things will fall through the wayside, and I'll pick it back up again. I think in terms of like balancing it, like I talked to my manager and was like, because I normally actually wake up and I do some extra work because most of the people are based in the West Coast, so I actually do a lot of work in the morning when I'm more productive. Like even before 9, I'll probably be on my computer by like 7:38 ish, and start grinding some work and stuff like that. And so I was like, hey, every once in a while, like, is it cool if I just like go for a run midday? Because like I kind of hit the wall around like 2 or 3 like everyone else. So
Sure.
and that was perfectly cool with them. So like I'm just trying to figure out what works best for me and like asking for it and not being afraid to ask for it. I think is like where I'm at right now. And then the only other thing is just kind of trying to balance like the rest of the thing. So like actually this week I wasn't able to practice melee up until last night just because I was so busy with work and some deadlines that were on Friday. So I think I just need to like figure out how to incorporate that and how to incorporate like just like pretty purposeful tight practice sessions, and then get some net play sessions in once I move into California and can play people online and stuff like that. So I think I haven't figured out how melee and how both melee and like other stuff like cooking and exercising factor into work. And so I think that's like where I'm definitely struggling the most. But I think it will like eventually fall into their places.
Right. Well, I think they just want you. I mean, any smart manager would know that a happy employee is a more productive employee, and so like the solution is not to strip you of your whole identity in life and force you to be on the grindstone 10 hours a day, nonstop. So it seems like she's aware of that, and will kind of
Yeah.
allow you the freedoms that make sense. That's important.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of just me putting in the work. I mean, we know, like, you know me really well. Like, I kind of just am a grinder at heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, right now, my attention is like grinding at work. And so I'm just like, it's not even that I'm like expected to put in those hours, but like, when you see how everyone else is working in the company, like how hard everyone else is working in the company and, you know, dealing with patients and family members and foundation partners and like how much it means to them of like the work we're doing, um, which is accelerating, like trying to help to find new treatments for like patients with rare diseases is kind of like the mission statement. And so like that's kind of just what's been pushing me. It's not like anyone else is pushing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like anyone else is saying like you have to clock in those hours. It's just that's what I felt like I need to do to be able to like end the day thinking that I did a good job, and being like proud of the work that I did. So I think I'm just like, but I'm also like, there's like time wasted, like just like trying to figure out where something is, or like trying to figure out what Google Doc it's in and stuff like that. So I think I'll just get more and more optimized with my work, and so like I'll probably just like have more time as like I get more situated.
Yeah, I definitely trust that you will, and you definitely are a grinder at heart. That could have been your tag could have been grinder, and
Could have, it kind of cringed though.
uh no. And then you just tell
Right?
people it's the sandwich.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like,
That's
I
fair.
don't even know what
Food
grinder
related
means.
tags are okay.
Yeah, hoagie. Actually, hoagie's not a bad. We'll talk.
Hoagie's a great tag, actually. Wow, that is hostile hoagie.
Hostile. We'll put
Kind
it
of
out
sucks.
there. We should
Well,
start a
yeah.
doc of tags that people can have as long as we're like paid 1% of the tournament winnings. It's a business. It's an
Yeah.
idea.
That's an
Um,
idea. Nice. Well, there's some British like late like early 20s person who I think makes a lot of money from naming babies in China. So,
what?
yeah, it's a thing.
Naming Jesus.
Like giving like English names to.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
A completely related note. The viewers can Google that themselves. We're
Yeah.
not going to go into
Fun
that.
fact of the day.
Yeah.
Well, to get it back on track, yeah, I mean, it sounds like everything is clearly working its way,
Hmm.
progression wise on your job seems pretty natural.
Yeah.
Any kind of final thoughts to close out the topic?
I think no final thoughts. I'm just really excited like for future episodes to just really experiment with or just like talk more about like that work-life balance as I feel like I'm reaching like actual adulthood, you know?
Sure.
And I think that's really interesting. Aside from yeah, so I'm just super excited to start exploring that for future episodes. Aside from that, I want to take a break. I thought my computer's plugged in, but it's not, and it's about to die.
All right, quick break.
Plugged in. Ah, shit! I figured out what it was. These stupid Windows computers like have like it's a two-part charger, so sometimes the middle part goes out.
Dude, those are the worst.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back. So
Just checking
we
checking
can
my
edit that out.
texts.
Yeah.
No, that won't be like a legit break left now. Okay. Cool. So once we come back, you wanna transition it to the questions you had?
Yeah, and we're cool to talk about 5 days of melee.
Of course.
Cool.
All right, take it back whenever.
All right. Yeah, so for the next topic, I kind of was curious, JD, because I've known you pretty well, right? For a while now, I could say. And I wanted to talk about 5 days of melee. So obviously, incredible opportunity. We are in the discussions, but it's looking unlikely, right? As it stands now.
We're currently
Of this,
a backup, so if we're in the pool of backups for if the Scar and Tove show or 6-4 can't do it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, among other great podcasts as well. And I think the one thing I've noticed in the last few days is like I think the fact that I felt really honored to just be in the discussion, but granted, like it would have been a big opportunity, assuming we don't get it right. And so, I think I want to hear like how you're feeling about that, and like because I'm kind of noticing as your friend that you might be feeling, and correct me if I'm wrong. Also, this is just observations, like
Sure.
a bit antsy about it, and kind of trickling into ideas of like what we want season 2 to look like, but also yeah, I think it's just like it's a weird situation because it's like almost a big break, and we might just miss it unless something changes right from the current plans. And I kind of want to hear your thoughts and let you kind of go on about that.
Yeah. So, I'm very happy to talk about this because I'm still trying to figure out kind of how I feel about it. So, first, by the time this podcast comes out, it's likely that we'll putting it out on the 16th. So 5 Days of Melee has started, and funny enough, by this time we are well aware. The day we're recording later on, we're going to find out most likely. So we're going to be well aware whether or not we got the slot or not, how it all unfolded and stuff like that. So yeah, you've seen that on the Discord and things like that. I've been pretty vocal. I'm trying to restrain myself, and there are a few times where maybe I come across very much so as like pick me, but the gist of it is I uh, it is an opportunity, and I'm not gonna allow myself to feel like I didn't do everything I could to put ourselves in the position to capitalize on it.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather risk being seen as antsy and being seen as putting myself forward too much, rather than being seen as indifferent or not wanting the slot or feeling like it's
Yeah,
not a
no,
big deal. So
I respect that. Yeah.
it was a decision I made that was definitely based in some emotion of I was like the fifth person put in and you were like the sixth, something like that. Like we were put in back to back in that Discord very early on in the process. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was given the impression that we were a part of it from the
Mm.
beginning.
That's where I didn't. Okay, okay. I
So
see where we diverge.
you were put in early, but you were busting ass at your job and you weren't like totally
Yeah,
involved in that in the first
not
couple
at all.
days. And so
Yes.
I feel like we were given the podcast role in the Discord. Um, we were in talks with Will, and our boy Ventus had a very heavy hand in
Shout out
influencing
to
everything.
him.
Yeah,
Absolutely killed it.
he's
Absolutely
killing
killed
it
it.
in his role
Quick tangent. Quick tangent.
as the marketing consultant, and he's doing really good work with them. So shout outs to Matt as always. So because of that, because we were put in so early, it was almost. It's not that like I'm trying to shoot for this unrealistic thing. It's that I'm fighting to retain what I thought was a very exciting opportunity, and that it doesn't feel great because I've over the course of my content creation slash melee career, I've ebbed and flowed with my defined ambition of where I wanted to go and what was in front of me and what I thought I could accomplish. And so um, it it almost just feels like it's rehashing these scars of like you fucked up, you didn't get it, this is why, um, and then really digging into deep insecurities that we all have of like you're not good enough, no one, you're not deserving the attention. There are people way more valuable and dedicated, hardworking, and talented than you are, and those things kind of all converged in this time of I just moved in to my grandmother's house and she had a health scare. I'll say this now. She had a health scare, but she's doing fine. She'll probably come home today or tomorrow, so she's going to be okay.
Okay, good. That's good.
So all these things converged in such a bizarre, chaotic way that like, yeah, I think it was pretty clear to everyone who saw what I was chatting and saying and getting involved in that um, I want it really bad. And sometimes it's like you have to just say this is what we are and push it forward and take it or leave it and let the chips fall where they can. And other times you have to step up and assert as much as possible like this is what I want because the alternative is regretting that I didn't do it. So that being said, I know that I still need to focus on the actual piece itself, on the actual me and you talking and interviews and releasing and the content and everything like that. But yeah, this is our first real chance to be in the spotlight of the entire community, and God willing, we're gonna try to get that slot. So if that answers your question, good. I kind of covered everything.
No, that was good. Thanks for opening up, my guy. I mean, like, yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Because again, you're right to call me out on it. Like, I definitely came in on the later end and it was like, oh, word.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, I wasn't thinking about this. Uh, and then even after that, I was just so engrossed with the new job and stuff like that. So like I hearing where you're coming from and like the order and the timeline of it, I totally get your side of it now. Of like you know, regardless, you know, fire or flames or flight, you know, succeeding, we had to kind of like push for it, and I definitely agree with you there. Mad respect for doing it also, and like, you know, coming up against like your past traumas, I think is the best way to put it. Yeah, that makes complete sense. From my end, I guess the reason why I'm even asking this question for additional context was I was so confused because I kind of came in like post work, I'm about to fall asleep, I'm just checking through Discord. I was like, oh, cool. Like, I was invited to this. Like, I wonder what will happen. And then, like, you know, knowing that, like, but we're both like, you just moved, I just started a job and moved, and then I'm moving again. Like, we haven't been like super consistent, and that's like something that we definitely need to work on. But you know, me especially, like I've been like just having less and less capacity for it. And so I think I was like, okay, it'd be like super cool if we get it, but I'm like already happy with just being in like the conversation of it, right? And I think that's where I got really really confused, I guess, from your responses. That being said, I don't disagree with anything that you did, actually. Like
Yeah,
thinking back at it.
and for context, like what I did was nothing extreme. Like
No, no, I
there
mean, you
was
just like
I
asked
made
about it.
I
You
yeah
asked about it.
I reached out to an admin, kind of pitching us and saying, kind of low key begging, but more so saying like, it would mean so much to us. I trust your decision process. I'm not trying to put pressure. Just I want you to know how important it would be to us and the work we've done. Um, Made a joke about if we're not put in, then I'm going to guilt people into being guests, which was, I think, I fixed by adding the tongue out emoji on it.
Oh no, I read that post chat about it. Seemed like everyone thought of it a joke. I'm also bad at taking jokes. We know this.
Sure. So I know that it's not. I don't think that was anything extreme. Also, that was sort of saying like, okay, what leverage and what value, because this is getting into like marketing and
Mhm.
more so networking and all that. But
Yeah.
this meta game we're playing of producing something that will get eyeballs and get momentum and a community, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you got to play it, and there are times where I've grappled with the concept of that and wanted to just stick to the purity of what we're doing and try to be just a good product, be a good consistent product. But when you're given the opportunity to strike, it's like time to really see what you can do and maneuver in that space and make mistakes within that space and learn lessons for next time. So but, that's kind of on the Wannabes front. So being someone in this chat and having the conversations I've been trying to consistently network and get some other short form content in there. And I could talk a little bit about it. It's going to be interesting to have this conversation, and then by the time it's released, we'll see what comes of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
But before I go into my next rant, any thoughts of what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think one thing I think is the idea of networking is really good. Again, that's where I thought of it as the strength. I was like, oh, it's cool that we're like even in this discussion with this group of people and great content producers and creators and influential figures in the community. That so I felt really honored personally about that. And I think outside of that, hmm, yeah, no, I think outside of that, in terms of like the content and the product that we're pushing out, I think part of what's made it hard to really get a groove with it is trying to figure out what our product is now with COVID and stuff like that. And I
Right.
know we were talking about that earlier, and this we kind of opened up season 2 like, we know, we already know how it's going to be different, and quite frankly, we don't know at all how it's going to be different. We just know it's different.
We know we do video now.
We do video now. Yes, we're on YouTube. and I think that's a topic I'm very curious of exploring, because I think we might have some divergence in that, and so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
On season 2 and kind of the direction we're going.
Yeah. Unless you wanna wrap up the 5 days melee first.
So
Networking.
yeah, well, yeah. So about season 2, because I think this is this is like an ongoing conversation, so I want to make sure we hit it. It's still a little bit up in the air. The core kind of remains of like we want to be open about what we're doing. We want to, keep a constant conversation because we enjoy talking to each other, right? Like the intrinsic value is remaining.
Yeah.
Melee,
On the couch sort of thing.
right? Melee is a consistent. And I guess where the divergence comes from, besides video and the additional short form pieces that we're extrapolating from our long form podcasts, I would say is kind of I don't know. I actually don't know. Because of COVID, any sort of understanding of like consistency or how things are going to be in the future is very difficult. Not just from like a podcast, but in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that as long as the core remains and we are constantly trying to find it, then we could revisit the question of what season 2 is every week, and maybe over time we'll get to something a lot more consistent. But I would say the elevator pitch is the same. It's 2 melee, intermediate melee players figuring out life struggles while maintaining their passions. And as long as we keep that core, I'm not going to be too concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think to kind of build on that, I think the core is great. I think the hard thing we're having to do is like, what do we talk about, like week in, week out sort of thing. And I think without like the structure of like, I didn't realize it, but like, like tournaments and events kind of just gave a structure.
Yeah.
And without that, we kind of have free range to do kind of whatever. So maybe more what I'm asking is, and maybe this is, I don't know if this is for an on record or off record thing, but what do you want to talk about? Like, don't like, even without me, like just like on yourself, what do you want to talk about? Because that's how I've been kind of thinking about it. And I think that's gonna be really, really interesting, because it's gonna be really reflective of also where we are in our lives as a whole.
Right.
And I think that's gonna be where we start. Or I have a hunch that that's where we will start.
Honestly, I am still interested in creative process and lifestyle. So being a creator, and our last guest, Doodle Dudes, Doodle Dudester, God, what a name.
Doodle Dudes are shout outs.
Yeah. We had a conversation that I recorded, but it wasn't like a 1v1 or anything. It was just, we sat down and talked about creativity and the struggles of that. And after having that conversation, it was very rewarding. It was that sort of thing where I was still scratching at these kind of slightly painful, slightly uncomfortable, hard to understand topics of ambition and drive and work ethic and creativity. But afterwards, I was happy with everything, and we both were a little more inspired and all that. So I think talking with you and sharing with you where I'm at every week, and also with our 1v1s of finding people also in those shoes of trying to create and make a name for themselves and begin a career that they love. That's the juice for me. That's what I want to talk about as much as possible. That's that.
Yeah, no, that answers it, completely. Yeah, I totally get that. And I think that's super interesting. And yeah, maybe every week we should just do like a where we're at sort of section, to just kind of include that and make it not like more of a like a, oh well, Monday was like this, Tuesday was like that sort of thing, but like more on the emotional feeling side of things.
For sure.
Mentally, I think, yeah. And regarding where I'm at or where we're at, I'll tell you where I'm kind of at is sort of this like intersection between now a real, actually rewarding job and trying to figure out where I'm in with a competitor. And I think that's the funny thing that really hasn't changed. And I think this is kind of what makes the Wannabes so interesting, is that we kind of always come from two different directions, where I haven't thought about content, honestly,
Sure.
too much. I've been thinking about, how do I do a good job at work? How do I balance that with, being able to talk with you and like keeping the podcast up? Because like I think that really is beneficial, and it's also just like a cool project that I want to keep up. And then how do I relearn Melee on the box and get back up to speed? And then what's my goal as a competitor, sort of thing.
Right.
And so I think I really haven't changed, actually. I kind of just like realized, and what's funny is no one really knows what success looks like for Melee in 2021 unless you're like a sponsored player winning net play tournaments.
Sure.
And I think that's what's interesting, is that there's nothing to really grasp at. But that being said, I'm itching to grasp onto something, and I think that's where I'm at as a competitor. And nothing's really changed. I just want to be a competitor and do that, and I want a challenge. And I think for me, that isn't in the realm of like content creation outside of the podcast, just because I just have limited time and capacity for it. But I kind of just realized that recently, that I'm like, yeah, I want to aim for top 100 2021, even after relearning the box. Even not knowing, and just saying that not because like the result really matters, or we don't even know if there's a top 100 next year, but just because like that's sort of the challenge that I want to give myself. It's always like to the game. So I think I want to like explore concepts as a competitor. And I've been, obviously Haikyuu's been popping off. Season 4 has been absolutely popping off recently.
I'm a few episodes behind of the.
I won't spoil it.
Please don't.
But like I want to tackle concepts that we see in shows and in televisions or in other content more in a reflection type piece, like thinking about, I mean, like the idea of a wall in Haikyuu is something introduced in season 1 pretty early on, like that, but I think there's way more interesting topics than that one from that show alone, among not even talking about any other shows or mangas that I'm reading or other pieces of literature. So I think like that's where I'm at, is I'm trying to think about what it actually means to be a competitor and also an adult with a career, not just a job.
Rock on. Yeah. I mean, we're always finding that we're hitting similar. I mean, if you go, we're talking about different things in actuality of like where our sights are set, but we take a few steps up and we're in that same category. And that's kind of always where we're coming from, and why we could pretty much always relate, not only because I still have a drive to play. I played a bunch versus Chess today, who's been on the grind again, and playing with him kind of reawakened like, man, I like this game, but I wish I was hitting the stuff I could usually hit. And so now I'm like trying to, figure out where practice goes back into my schedule, shit like that. But yeah, it's tying in passions and work and improvement and development and skill, like kind of circling back to what season 2 is going to be. It's definitely still about growth and trying to grasp onto that feeling, and whether it's through competitor or content. And I'm going to use that as a transition to what I was going to talk about also, the stuff I'm working on. It's very exciting. So 5 days of Melee, right? We've kind of jumped all over the place. Not really, but back to 5 days of Melee. It's Christmas themed Super Smash Brothers. Right away, I was trying to find collaborators to do some sort of sketch work. So can we put together some sort of Summit-esque themed Melee sketches, put it together quickly, have the turnaround in time, and get that on the show, because I think it'd be fun and funny and just a good opportunity to stretch those muscles. And nobody bought into it. Either they don't want to work with me, or frankly, there's just not a lot of comedy writers that were invited to this group in the first place. Plus, I'm sure me and Slime still thinks I'm a piece of shit. Still waiting for a good opportunity to apologize to him. Different conversation, but yeah. So not a lot to work with within that group, and whatever. So I started reaching out to a few of my friends. We had a writing session where we brainstormed a bunch of ideas, sketches, parodies of movies. And the big thing that I landed on with them was just song parodies. Just writing over Christmas songs with Melee lyrics and producing it.
Hey, some of your
around.
Best hits.
Yeah.
I go back to We Didn't Start the Fire every once in a while.
Yeah, so thank you. So this is something that I have the people I've worked with. I found another singer that I'm very close friends with from high school. She's a trained opera singer and sings in other... she's a trained singer, but she starts in opera. And I wrote a few songs out. I guess I could just tell you what they are. The first one is 12 Days of Christmas, of course. 12 Days of Melee. And that's just plug and play. That's
that seems like the level 1.
That's
for sure.
Yeah. And the second one is Little Drummer Boy, sorry. And it's Little Streamer Boy. So
okay.
the third one I'm writing right now. So those two are finished written. And the third one is going to be Rudolph I'm thinking Rudolph the straight-backed Marthmain, or the rank 1 Marthmain, and it's about Rudolph, of course.
Interesting.
So ideas are one thing, even writing it out is one thing, but the fact that I have a team, I had a Zoom call earlier today, and we have people on board. They're starting the work of making an original track, so it's DMCA free, and providing the vocals from a trained singer. And it should be produced. The turnaround time is by Wednesday. I talked to Walt. If I could get it to him by Wednesday, then it has a good chance of getting in to the program. And I'm going to try to submit 3 songs. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, really, this is short turnaround time. I'm trying my best to make something. And worst case scenario, I have it for myself, and then I can make a video out of it and just, that's mine, and put it out there and all that. But
yeah,
it'd be really cool to be able to have that be showcased in a Christmas Melee themed event to get that slotted. But that's the gist of that extracurricular stuff I've been working on.
That's hype. That's super exciting. Wow. Yeah, that's up your alley. Like, the minute I heard it, I was like, yeah, this is perfect for JD. So yeah, I can't wait to hear it. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't choose Jingle Bells.
What would Jingle Bells be?
Jingle DI.
It needs to be
Is it weird? Is it weird?
It needs to have the same syllables.
This is why. What are syllables?
What's a syllable?
Bells. Jingle DI.
Jingle
okay.
Bells. Yeah.
Jingle Bells. Okay.
Look,
see, this is why I'm not the writer.
All right, in real time, I'll see if Jingle Bells can work. So what I always do is I go to Rhyme Dictionary, type in bells, right?
Yeah.
Shells, spells, cells, wells.
We're just seeing how the sausage is made, aren't we, right now?
So I would go smash hotels, and then it would be about smash hotels.
Okay.
But I would rather rhyme with jingle. So let's look with jingle.
Pringles. I got you
Pringle,
there.
shingle, single. All right, so single is a thing. You have to go ba ba ba. So the whole process is like there's 65 Christmas songs. There's so many Christmas songs.
Yeah. No, I'm sure you considered. I'm sure. I miscounted my syllables.
I do like Smash Hotels though. Smash Hotel. There might be something there.
All right, we'll see if it makes the cut. I'm just an idea person.
Thanks. Well, I feel like the ideas person because I'm working with an incredibly talented and classically trained singer, and my buddy George, who every piece of music that content I've done,
Yep.
I've worked with him. He's my best friend. He's going to be in my wedding. Like, he's one of my best friends in the whole wide world.
That's super hype.
So to be able to work with these people, and they're good friends too. So it's kind of like from high school, this reunion.
Oh, you got this like trio going.
Right.
That's super sick.
And that makes me think of like where my value prop is, because we talked earlier in the episode, I talked about my insecurities, right? Like I'm not.
Yeah.
Am I talented enough? Am I good enough? Can I succeed? And
yeah.
Finding a win in terms of having friends, just being able to, like, I don't think I'm the most good at anything, right? I think I'm decent at a good amount of stuff. You know, never was the best Melee player, never was the best singer, or had the most successful YouTube channel, or could edit the best, or make the best podcast, you know, and that's fine. But I know that if I've met someone and I'm friendly with someone, that I leave a good impression for the most part. And so it feels good to know that if I reach out to one of my friends and ask if they're willing to do me a favor and, you know, put some work into something, that they're willing to collaborate. And, you know, maybe that's my future, as more of a producer or a behind the scenes guy of these sort of projects. Clearly there's value to it. We see in the Discord how many people I've never heard of just pumping out insanely good work.
Yeah, I mean the networking in that is just ridiculous. It's practically just a directory at this point.
Yeah, it's everyone with that sort of production, creative, illustrative talent all in one place. So there's clearly space to leverage that ability, but yeah, it just feels nice to be able to get a project off the ground, and I think it's going to come out great. I'm really excited to come up with something and put it in that Discord and say, hey, is there space for this? Or put the 12 Days of Christmas and say, hey, does anyone want to try to put a video to this? I think it could be a smash hit. No pun intended.
I was about to say.
So we'll see. I mean, fingers crossed. It's out of my hands now. I've written the lyrics. I've passed them off to the talent, and we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whew, / rant.
Yeah, no. I think the rants are our best thing, though. Going back to the podcasts, I think the rants are kind of our best things. Everyone loves a good JD rant. Ever since shout outs to Miso. Ever since Miso was just like post Nebs riding to the train. Like, yeah, dude, I really love JD's rant. You know, it really resonated with me. You know, so I get it. Maybe we could just do more rants. Maybe that's the thing. Because like
maybe.
I mean, like,
it's easy to edit that into short form.
Yeah. Wannabe rants.
Is there anything do you want? Speaking of,
is there anything I want to rant for?
Yeah, dude. Anything that's pissing you off or getting you excited?
Dude, I'm just itching to play again, but I'm also so worried to play again. It feels like I've been out for so much, and I'm kind of getting a little stir crazy because I've just had this box controller, and I'm kind of like at the point now where I wouldn't say I'm like can play as well as I was with the controller, but I haven't played with the controller long enough that it feels pretty bad to play on a controller also.
Huh.
And dude, I'm just worried about getting back to where I was and like doing it. But I think something about me, some gut feeling is saying lean towards the box, lean towards that challenge, and I'm just kind of going with that gut feeling because that's where what I want to do. But I do worry about just like being able to get it back and having the time to get it back. And what's interesting is like the more I don't get to play net play and do this and play with others, the more I've just been like getting stir crazy shadow boxing these like invisible enemies, you know, invisible options outside of practicing my DI, which I can't at all. And I think that's what's sort of been really frustrating and tough. And I think I'm worried, and it's really funny because like I think it's like it just the human brain naturally points out like the negatives and differences, and you see like so many other players doing well in Melee. And I literally just got my dream job with my dream, financial package at my age right now, and am moving to California with my girlfriend, and I have so many things going good for me. And I'm still like, sometimes my mind goes like, damn, but I wish I could also just be like super sick at Melee.
I know.
And I think that insecurity and that fear is really something to say, but it's also balanced by just the fact that because I just can't play anyone, I've just been reflecting on like my Melee career so far and how tied up it was with getting big wins and getting recognized and getting PR spots and I never really cared about seeding, but so outside of seeding, all the other stuff. And like, I don't think I actually like really tried to be a top player. Like I was like all talk, I think. Not all talk, but like I think there are just people that you see in this Slippy era, the rollback era, that are like putting in work, that like have this innate desire for the game, that I'm starting to realize what that feels like as I have less and less interactions with people. Like I am just so hungry to play the game. It's frustrating and worrisome, but at the same time it's like been kind of stewing into like more of like I kind of just don't care about like where I'll be at or whatever. Like I kind of just want to enter a tournament and like go 1-2 maybe or something like that, like I think like I'm starting to, like, the way I'm starting to think about the game and like play is like I just gotta hit it. Like I don't have to be worried about hitting it. I'll just try to hit it and like play from there, like. And so it's weird. I'm kind of in like a weird place where I think this is like good for me, but it's so frustrating, and there are definitely darker moments of like me wondering if it was like good to try to do this switch.
Yeah. First off, I can't believe you just nailed it. I'm like, yo, you want to rant? And you're like, I got a perfect topic. It felt... Holy shit.
I had a rant.
You did, dude. Oh my God. What really resonated was obviously like the desire to be good at Melee is this thing that we think we can control, and we just can't. We've been playing for too long at this point that even when on paper we should be totally satisfied with everything else, right? It's like no. You're not getting the wins you want, or you're not, your trajectory in Melee is no longer going up. Like insecurity time. It's like, fuck, like let me live, damn it. This game just does that to you. That's what hit me the hardest, but especially in the position you're in, it's like you have stepped voluntarily into a skill gap valley. Like having your controller skills deteriorate, it's like point of no return now, man. You got to do it.
I know. I literally tried controller today, and I was like, yeah, like I couldn't do like 5 minutes of it.
Ugh.
Like not because of my hands, just because it felt so bad. It feels like I'm just like not that it's like too far gone, but like I just think I think I'm just gonna go with my gut and be stubborn about it. But like, yeah, this idea that like you can have everything else going well for you, but like you can still not be happy with melee is something that's like inherent to everyone, because melee is our first love for a lot of people, I think, for me included, and I think that's what makes it so hard to, well, fuck that, like I'm not letting go of it.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like fuck that. You know, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna gun for it.
We could get close.
I think the other what?
We can get close to that point, but it just,
We can.
in retrospect, it's not really that close.
No, not at all. Like fuck that. It's always gonna be there. Till the day I die.
Yeah.
And like I think the thing is that like, what was I gonna say? There's just things that I'm doing now where I'm like, how did I think like I was like how could I have been aiming for top 100 and not practice like really moving out of like Falcon up throws? Like, and I beat Smuckers a few times. I have a 2-3 record on Smuckers in the last, pre-COVID, in the last 3 months before March. Like, it's crazy that like I'd never sat down and practiced, like, because of his weight, right? The timing out of moving of the up throw. So, I just never sat down and practiced that. And it's just like those small things have made me like have so much respect for the top players, like the top players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like top, like perceived top players, but like just the highest echelon of players. But like, yeah, Melee is such a crazy game that I didn't fully. I thought I mean, even with Drug Foxes, you think you get the game. I'm not even scratching the surface of it, and I think it pisses me off how naive I was through our entire podcast, all recorded.
That is a good sign, though, because if we look back and we're like, man, last year I was great. Like, what happened to me last year? I think that is a very dangerous place to be in. So just the fact that you're looking back and you're like, God, I'm such a fucking moron.
Such a fraud.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny to think about that, because obviously we're going to look at this point and be like, God, we were stupid. Hopefully, if everything goes well, we're going to look back at perhaps this very episode. We're going to say, what were we talking about? Like, I'll be like, why was I raging in a Discord? Why couldn't I have just been chill? And you're probably like, why did it take so long to start the box? Or why did I start the box? Hopefully the first one. But
hopefully the first one, yeah.
Yeah. But either way, it's like, yeah, man, we're learning, we're growing, and we're gonna realize that these attitudes we had towards Melee or towards any other, thing we're trying to improve at were heavily flawed, and that's what was stopping us. The good news is we don't need to be perfect to hit top 100. Top 100 is extremely attainable, I think, for both of us. The fact that we've not given up playing this long means that it's for us to grab, I think. And so, and God, what a beautiful arc that would be. I just need to make sure I'm following right behind you. I can't let you get top 100 without me at least being like 95 to your 94. I'd be so tight.
I know you would.
I'm
trying to keep you on your toes. Granted, I'll be honest, JD. When you were kind of feeling a little bit down on yourself on our little group Discord with Ventus, I definitely tried to shoot a warning shot. I was like, I'm still trying to aim for top 100.
Oh yeah, that was all right.
Just a little bit. I mean, I'm just like I can't let you fall like that. You're too good of a player.
Well, the good thing is that Chess also, which is like my original rival, he's been on he's been on the grind again too, and so I definitely was trying to get in on his Twitch and be like, all right, I gotta show the world that I'm still good at the Peach matchup. At least I have this. At least I have floaties.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, it's tough to maintain that drive, even though it's always there. It's once we're on the inspired, it's like, all right, now feel inspired every day and put the work in every day, and hopefully now that, or for me, I'm back to consistency. You're about to move again, so good luck with that transition.
Yeah.
I think next episode we should really focus in on moving and moving to a new space and trying to use
Yes.
that to break old habits.
I love that theme for
Yeah.
next episode. Clock it down. Can you write it somewhere?
Sure.
Just themes for next week. Transition.
I'll write it
I think
after.
that's actually a real beautiful theme.
Speaking of transitions, we're running close to the hour.
Oh shoot,
Our
we have a
question.
question.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, we should just title this episode "We're Frauds."
We are frauds.
Yeah.
All right. I'm into it.
I think it's fine. I think my rant covered it. Like I think I was a fraud. How am I like? How was I right 14th in like for the first HNC season? But
Facts.
that's not the main thing. The main thing is our question, which is, let me pull it up.
Sadly, they were not coming on to the show this week, but that's fine.
Yeah. Thank you still for putting on the question.
Yep.
And if you want to come back on the show, you are 100% welcome to.
Yep.
But it is from @SSBM_Sneck, wondering, how do we feel about the ladder format for online tournaments? It's pretty interesting. Yeah, is a pretty interesting format. So this is, for context, something that training mode tournaments does. And so before the main bracket starts, they have a ladder format where you have like kind of elo rating. It's like an elo ladder, pretty much is the easiest way to explain it, of like rookie something and some higher thing after that, platinum. So JD, I'll throw it to you. What are your thoughts on it before I say anything about it myself?
Thoughts? It's positive. So at first I was really iffy about it because I thought that was the entire tournament format. Then I saw that they had an actual bracket alongside it, and I just think double elimination is, because it's the standard. It's going to take a huge push and a lot of evidence to show me that there's a better like payout structure format than double elimination. That being said, ladder is, I think, exactly what the community needs in terms of like improving across the board. So one of the big faults with double elimination is people who go 0-2, 1-2, they run out of competitive sets. And there's always been a theme of, in Melee, the rich get richer, of, getting further in tournament means you're getting better players and getting better practice. And so it's difficult for people at that lower rung to even find who among them is you go 0-2 playing two people way outside your skill range. You have no idea where you stand. You don't know who is around your skill level. You don't know who to pick a training partner. And when there's hundreds of attendees, you just feel lost. It doesn't feel good at all. And then you're forced to go back to unranked or beg the Discord and start from square one in terms of finding good practice. But a ladder solves that brilliantly in that you just play as much as you want. Just keep playing. Go. Play. And it rewards at the top for people to keep winning. So you could still get, those top players getting practice with people below them. And near the bottom, it allows redemption in that, other people in the ladder play until you've played everyone. And once you've played everyone, you know who you want to ask for more practice. And that's all I got. I think it's pretty great.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the times when Nebs used to do it, and I think that was really fun. One time, even, I think it was at Gang or one of the events where Gang was hosted, where they did, what was interesting was they did pools into top 16 of the ladder made it into the next bracket also. So it was like a top 32 bracket with like 16 making it through, and then they did top 16 ladder people make it through also. Which is really interesting because it lit a fire under everyone, including myself, because I lost to, I don't know who in that tournament, but I don't remember who I lost to, but I played bracket and I was one of the 16 people in the top of the ladder, so I still made it into the final bracket.
Nice.
Into top 32, which was sick. I think for competitive, like, I don't think it has like, I don't think you need to draw like any meanings from a ladder bracket, but I think as like a practice tool, it's gonna be really good. I wasn't a fan. I'm happy they experimented with it. I appreciate TOs that experiment with bracket formats. I don't think it like worked super well. Like, I think that just the concept of it like kind of short-ended some people, where they were like, I beat this person in bracket and they made it back to pools and I have to play them again round 2 of top 32.
Sure.
Sort of thing. So I think like, I don't think it works in like a like as like the only thing, but as a supplement, I definitely hard agree, especially for players who might not like. It's just like, you know, like any tournament, it's like kind of a little bit. It can be a little bit clicky, right? Where you play the people that you want to play, and like, oh, Curb's at Nebs today, so like I'm gonna go up and ask him, but he kind of knows you already, so you can kind of do that, right? And not everyone can do that, and I think that's what ladder benefits from, because it helps make introductions and builds the community. And so that's what I really like about it, especially over net play, because like, granted, like I don't post, I made the I am an admin of the Melee Online Discord, and I still just privately message people. You know, quite frankly, you know, I very rarely go like, hey, at here, who wants to play? Generally it's like, I've been studying Falco, let me hit up Beer Man. I want Fox, let me play JD, you know?
Right.
So, you know, I think especially in the COVID era, ladders are really good because it helps make introductions to practice partners over online play. So it's even better than it was in a local setting.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. Okay, cool. I think that kind of covers it. So again, thanks, Sneck, for the question. Overall consensus, ladder great as a supplement, but it's going to take a lot to beat out double a limb as a... Did I ever tell you about one of the first tournaments I played in high school? We played triple elimination.
You did.
I remember that. Written by hand.
Yes. I think you told me this in your 1v1 interview. When I interviewed you. It was super good.
Good times.
I think the last thing I'll say about ladder is that it's a good way to practice playing with a little bit of nerves and like choosing options that are risky. You know, like choosing options that you're like, I need to hit this like exactly like this. I need to hit this sledge dash. Like, lose the ladder match. Go for that ledge dash, because the more you practice under those like pressure situations, the more you'll be ice cold in bracket. Yeah. Like in the long run, like months down the line. Don't expect that to change in the next few weeks.
Yeah. Tournament XP is rare. You gotta grab a hold and take advantage where you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a different style difference, even from playing in bracket versus playing in friendlies. I mean, you're a big perpetrator of that, I think.
Yeah, I suck in friendlies. I don't know what it is.
I know. It's so bad.
I'm so trash at friendlies.
I don't get actual JD practice in friendlies.
I try. I'm not conditioning or anything. I try my best. I promise.
I know, but you go in too often. You soar to the platforms in tournaments.
Oh, I lose all my shame in tournaments.
I know. That's why I'm calling you out. But thank you again for the question. That was really good.
Yep.
I know we didn't bring you on, but feel free to DM me or JD if you want to come on with another question. Always happy to have you on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Season 2, we're all about just building. I think, building our community is something we didn't mention before. So this goes out to anyone. Maybe this will make the YouTube video of just this section. We love answering questions. It's probably our favorite part of the podcast at this point.
It is.
Besides,
we want to hear from you.
Besides the feeling I get just having talked to one of my best friends, I get that. That's probably my favorite. But
I still like the questions more.
Okay, well, they're close. Fair enough. But
jokes aside.
With that being said, I think we covered everything, man. This was good. I think I peaked a lot. I'm checking the audio here.
That's fine. We'll peak. We'll do it better next time. That's fine.
Always improving.
That's what season 2 is. Season 2 motto. We'll do it better next time.
Forget everything we said before. It's about doing it better and peaking.
Yep.
All right. I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah. See you, man.